Good morning. Sometimes having rules and constraints on the way that you do business or the people that you do business with seems like it would be a limiter, but it can be the greatest multiplier in your business because it removes the outliers of opportunities that are not going to work out. Let me explain what I mean. So in today's journal, this is 1997, I have a page titled Rules for Good Listings. And I'd been thinking a lot about this because I had both been practicing it in my own business, but I was overlaying it on a lot of the things that I was learning. I was learning from Deming about the stability of a system and removing friction from things. And I learned from my own experience that sometimes when a listing didn't work out, and you can just think about this as a client or a customer or somebody that you're going to work with. If you look at the things that don't work out, sometimes you see a pattern of specific reasons why. And even though you took on the business, you may have in the back of your mind known that this wasn't set up for success. One of the greatest benefits of having a system that can generate all the leads that you need is that you are suddenly faced with, instead of a scarcity situation, you're faced with an abundance, that you are now getting to be more selective in the people that you work with. So I was looking and man, a lot of these things would be exactly the things that I would look at today. And it's the things that we train our real estate agents to focus on. So rule number one is geographic area limits, that in my area, in the final years of me selling real estate, I found that the tighter that I made my geographic concentration, the more money I made. Because I lived, as I said, in Halton Hills. So we could theoretically go, our territory included Caledon and Hillsburg and Erin and all these outlying areas. But the more that I made the decision to focus my attention on just the primary area of Georgetown in Halton Hills, that was a freeing decision, because now I didn't have to stay on top of all the inventory in the other areas. I could do the things that I could do because I was only focused on this geographic area. Number two was at least neutral in condition or willing to bring it to neutral. So there's a lot of this stuff that sometimes the listings that I would take were just dumps, or they were so packed with stuff that hoarders or whatever the thing was. And sometimes when you're starting out, you want to do business with people because it's a foot in the door that gives you a listing. But when you realize that's going to be a big block, that became a standard. So we'd look at it and really make that decision that they have to be willing to do whatever it takes to get something into at least neutral position, which means clean and clutter-free. I'm not talking about people, renovating or doing expensive things, but at least that it shows neutral, that nobody's going to look at it and be repelled by the amount of work that they're going to have to do. Number three, and this was an important one, that they're motivated to move and in agreement, that there's some reason for the move, that they are moving. The greatest thing is somebody who has got a job transfer and they've got to be in Calgary by a certain date. So they're motivated and they're both, the couple, excited about making the move. If one of the couple is driving this and the other really doesn't want it, I got into certain situations where the partner that wasn't on board could passive aggressively sort of make things difficult for the move. So be filtering and looking for those things that they're motivated to move and in agreement. So when I look at this and I'm thinking, how would you apply this to your business? These rules are something like, is there a geographic constraint that would help you? Is there some level of minimum standard for somebody that you would work with? Do all the partners or the decision makers in a company have to be on board with what you're doing? Number 4 was priced within 3% of the selling price. No more. I made the decision that I want to work with people who want to sell and I want to get the house sold quickly. And I realized in doing all the analysis that homes that sell faster for more money are ones that are priced closest to what their actual market value or selling price is going to be. And that's a big win if you can make that for yourself, that maybe there's a certain budget that somebody has to have to be able to work with you to do something. Number 5 is able to afford the move. So sometimes people have these dreams that they want to get this bigger house or they want to move out to the country. But when you do the math, it's not realistic for them, that their house is not going to be what it's worth to make the move. And if they're counting on, well, we need to get this much money in order to buy this one, everything can fall apart very quickly. So being able to afford the move was one of the rules for me. 6 was willing to participate, that people are, I talked about our listing multipliers in a earlier video. And if I got a sense that people were willing to do the things that would need to be done to give their house the greatest chance to sell, that would be a big thing. So when I would present the idea of how to tap into that 18% of homes that sold by direct or indirect referral, they were on board and willing to help in that way. 7 was listed for 90 days only. This was a big one, is that I was making a decision that my home selling system was going to be a system that gets homes on the market and sold in less than 90 days. Now, sometimes what realtors do, there's a temptation to take a listing that's overpriced and take a longer listing, 6 months or a 1 year listing, and feel like, oh, we'll test it at your price, and if it doesn't sell, then we can revisit the price, knowing that they have that time to be lazy. I wanted to have both sellers that were motivated to sell within that 90 days, and I wanted to put that constraint on me too, that I only took 90-day listings. And the first time that I presented that to somebody, it's it seems like it's a way of, it brings some credibility to what you're saying, that when you're presenting a price and you know what the price should be because you've seen more than any other, more homes than they have, you know what the market is doing right now, especially if you're concentrated in a particular area, that when they're trying to say, well, we can test it at the thing, if you're saying that you're only going to take the listing for 90 days and you don't believe that the house will sell at that price, that sort of commitment to it is a reassurance, I think, to the sellers that, oh, wow, he's not just, if you say to them, I could tell you that we could test it and we could list it for 6 months, but that's not going to be the best thing. And I show them all the research that homes that take longer to sell end up getting less money than the homes that sell for closer to their asking price. Number 8 was that it was able to be shown. lockbox, etc., that is easy to show. I didn't want to get involved in any listings that had restrictions. Well, we can't show it when we're not home, or we have to be here when people are seeing, or we're only showing it on this things. We need to be able to have it on the market and be available when buyers want to come and look at that house. Number 9 for me was that they had a winning story. And I told you about Jerry Spence and how I built this great way of telling the story of the listing so that we could compel the people to give them a reason why this house was going to be the one for them. And I would show people that, there are winning stories and there are losing stories. And the losing stories are, we're not giving it away, or we don't have to sell, or if they want it, they can pay our price, or we've put a lot of money into this house. All those things are resistant, not power stories. The best stories are, we need to sell our house. We got our dream job in Calgary. We need to be there by the end of next month. Or we found our dream home in the country and we're willing to sell it because we need to sell our house to get this one. All the things that are winning stories that give the buyer a story that's going to make them look like a winner. So it's almost, I would say to people, it's almost like you're going to win more if you let them feel like they're winning. You're still going to get more than market value, but they're going to feel like they're winning, just like the townhouse that I helped sell for Tim and Darlene, that we ended up selling for more than what the asking price is by telling people the situation, their dilemma, and what the house was worth. They ended up selling for more. So if they're not willing to tell a winning story, that's going to be an uphill battle. And then number 10 is no roadblocks. So if there's roadblocks in the way that they've got pets and there's only this, or that there's a certain, they're blocking times when they're not able to show the house, there should be no roadblocks or conditions in whether we can get this house sold. So I would recommend, if you think about it, who are the people? How would you describe the rules that must be present for your very best clients, the ones that you could get the very best outcome for? And it might be a really good exercise for you to do is take a page in your journal and just think about rules that would help you set standards for the kinds of people that you can use as a selection criteria and to keep yourself grounded. And even though it sounds paradoxical that you can win by having constraints, it's going to free you up to go as fast as you can. I got a funny email the other day from Rick. It says, Dean, question. Are you saying you can teach me to make fat stacks by hanging out at a pub, drinking coffee like you? And I laughed to myself because I was thinking, yes, I can do that. That's what I do. Is the funny thing, what I really realized is that every idea that I've had, every dollar that I've made over the last 30 years has gone through my brain, through my pen, onto a piece of paper in my journal before it went out into the real world. And if I can turn people on to that activity as a driver for what to do, what to think about, what to ask yourself to draw out what the next most valuable action is for you, and how to find the most profitable things that you can install in your business, I'm all for it. So this Friday at 1 p.m., I'm going to do, for the first time, a 50-minute profit finder workshop. And you're going to join me live on Zoom, and we're going to go through a 50-minute exercise. Bring your pen, bring a notebook or piece of paper, and I'm going to guide you through a thinking process that will help you identify where the lowest hanging fruit is in your business, and maybe some fruit that you didn't even know was there, but I'm going to show you where to look for it. So it's free. It's for you. It's Friday at 1 p.m. this Friday. Just watch. Go to, what did we call the website, Josh?
50-minute profit finder.
Just go to 50minuteprofitfinder.com and I'll get you all the details, and hopefully you can join us then Friday, 1 p.m.